Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse podcast, the official podcast of filmpulse.net. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is episode number 145. My name is Adam Patterson. With me today we have Kevin Rakestraw. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good to hear.
Let's get into it.
This week on the show, we'll be reviewing Paul Thomas Anderson's latest, Inherent Vice,
Oh, shit.
the Edward Snowden documentary CitizenFour, and the insanity that is R100. And of course, we'll also be going over this week's movie predictions, new on video on demand, and DVD and Blu-ray releases. Remember, you can send us your questions to podcast@filmpulse.net or leave us a comment on the site. We'd love to hear from you. Before we get into our first review, I thought I'd briefly go over the Sundance lineup because I think today marked, everything's been announced as of now. A ton of premieres. A ton. And the competition categories look pretty good. What are you thinking?
There's a couple of things in here that I'm kind of excited for. Like the one that was announced today is the new Swanberg.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to that
and
one.
And his wife's film is going to be in competition.
Yeah.
What was the name of that? Unexpected.
What is Digging for Fire is Joe Swanberg's. You got Jake Johnson, Rosemary DeWitt, Orlando Bloom, Brie Larson, Sam Rockwell, Anna Kendrick. Man.
Yeah, and that's
who would have thought?
And that's the first I heard of that one. In fact, most of these are movies that I never even knew existed. So
now there's one, the one that I'm most excited for, which is in the next program of Sundance, is the new Rick Alverson movie.
Okay.
With a screenplay from Rick Alverson, Greg Turkington, and Tim Heidecker, with a cast of John C. Reilly, Ty Sheridan, Michael Cera, Amy Seismitz, and Greg Turkington, about a broken aging comedian playing a string of dead-end shows in the Mojave Desert. God, yes, please.
Yeah, that one sounds pretty amazing. I'm excited for Craig Zobel's latest, Z for Zachariah. That's in competition this year. It seems interesting. I think it's based on a novel, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty much, they all sound really good. The Stockholm, Pennsylvania one sounds good.
Yeah. And one that I find interesting is Andrew Bujalski's new movie, which I never thought that this would ever happen. You have Guy Pearce, Anthony Michael Hall, Brooklyn Decker, Kevin Corrigan, Giovanni Ribisi, Kobe Smulders. Mismatched personal trainers. What in the world is going on?
Yeah,
in the world of indie film.
Yeah, so you can check out the full lineup on the site, and I think it's in 2 different posts. I don't know if my first post contains the midnight stuff.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think it does, because they released that separately. I don't see it on here. But Chuck Norris versus Communism is going to be there. We interviewed.
Oh yeah,
we interviewed them.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah, I for some reason I thought that something happened with that, but I guess they made it. It's good.
Fantastic.
So you can check out the lineups there. It sounds like it's going to be a good time. It's this year. The festival is going to be running from January 22nd to February 1st. We won't be there, unfortunately, this year because
yeah. Good times.
I'm getting ready to move, and it was gonna be a big problem. So at any rate, it looks like a very exciting time, and I think the Slam Dance lineup has also been announced. So check that out. Don't ignore the Slam Dance people. They put on a really good festival every year. All right. I was thinking we could just get started with Inherent Vice. What do you think?
Oh shit, we're not going to see that. I think we should save it for last.
Save it for last? All right. Yeah. All right.
I think we should.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and start off with CitizenFour then, and we'll have R100 be the cream filling.
Oh, that works in a couple of ways.
Oh yeah, I just realized that. Gross. So CitizenFour is directed by Laura Poitras.
Sure.
And it's a documentary about Edward Snowden. Now, the interesting thing about this is I had no idea that all of this stuff was being documented.
That's what I wanted to ask you, because me going into CitizenFour, I just thought oh, it's a documentary about Edward Snowden,
Right.
the leaks and everything. I didn't realize that this is, as it was happening,
As it was happening.
they were documenting this. So it's like the behind the scenes of history,
Which to
which just
me,
blew my mind. I was so into it.
I was glued to the screen the entire time. I thought that this was such a fascinating portrait of this guy. And the fact that we basically see everything happening, and also the fact that they come out with this documentary so close to when this actually happened, it made it even more interesting to see, because the whole thing, the whole him getting stuck in the airport and the leaks and all of that stuff, it's still fresh in our minds.
Yeah.
So when they come out with this documentary and you basically get to see it all happen in essentially real time, I just thought it was amazing.
That's one of the things that kind of, me not like watching trailers or really reading up on movies before seeing them. This was kind of a detriment because, as I said, I was thinking that it was just a documentary about the leaks and everything. So I wasn't that interested because, it's kind of fresh in our
Right.
minds. I know what happened.
Yeah.
Do
So
I
you were
really
thinking
need
it was
to
more like the Julian Assange documentary.
I was
These
just
Steel
like,
Secrets.
yeah, like, do I really need to see this? Like, I can just look all this stuff up on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad that I had to watch it because in the first few moments, you realize, like, oh shit, they're documenting while it was happening. Why didn't anyone tell me that?
Yeah. It's nuts, dude. And I was just so blown away because this doesn't feel like a documentary. It feels like you're watching a fictional story. I mean, it's crazy, especially how a lot of times they have to write notes to each other because they're worried they're being recorded. And I mean,
No, they're not worried. They know.
well, no, they know they are. Yeah. And how I was just blown away by the whole thing. And I think that a lot of it has to do with how the movie itself is presented and how it was made, because it's not a straightforward documentary. It's not like a straightforward cinema verite style documentary or anything like that. Just the music and how she would put up the different notes that they would write to each other and stuff. It was just so well made.
It was very weird. I mean, she crafted a thriller.
Yeah.
Like, this is as good as any fictional thriller that you've seen. I mean, they just ratchet up the tension, the little interludes where it's just like the static shots of the different surveillance areas, the one that they're building in Utah and everything. It's just, it's kind of has this sinister effect to it.
Yeah.
Especially because you're using the Nine Inch Nails music or the Reznor and Ross music, which just adds to it. And for me, like I said, I was kind of worried because I thought it was just going to be about the leaks. And do I really need to see this? Does it need to be in documentary form? Like, you know what I mean? Do I have to see a talking head documentary about the leaks? I can read all that stuff. But as soon as I found out what it was in the first few moments there, I got immediately excited because that's what I was hoping for. I wanted to see a sort of a portrait of Snowden himself, just him during this time and how he's reacting to everything and like what type of person is he. And that's what I thought was extremely interesting.
Right, because
and there's so many times where he's talking about, and you have the added bonus of how everything plays out.
Yeah.
So you know how it's going to go. And all of his worries in the moments leading up to when they start publishing stories and stuff like that, and how he's like, I don't want my name out there because I don't want it to distract from the stories. And it's just like, oh, poor guy. Well, it doesn't matter how long you wait. It's going to, I know your intentions are good, and he can't really help it. There's nothing he can do.
But he knew it was going to happen too.
Yeah, he did.
He said it was only going to be a matter of time. In fact, he predicted pretty much the outcome of it, which was so interesting that he knew how all this was going to play out. So he got everything lined up. He was the one that contacted The Guardian and this filmmaker. And so he pretty much knew how it was going to play out. He knew it was only a matter of time before his name was found out and broadcast everywhere. I think that his main concern, like you said, was getting the information out first and having the focus be on the information than the inevitable witch hunt for him.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because, I mean, if you truly think about it, a lot of people just forgot. They're just like, oh man, that's messed up.
Yeah.
And then just went on with their lives.
Yeah.
And it's like, this guy sacrificed so much.
I think that maybe at least right now, maybe the impact of it is not exactly evident. I think that there was probably a lot of behind the scenes stuff that was taking place that we may not necessarily know about just yet, as far as transparency and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, nothing's going to change, which is unfortunate, but
maybe
there's entirely too much money invested in what they're doing. Nothing's going to change.
But it also there's two other points that I wanted to make. First, I thought that this really humanized him because
I'm glad you say that.
We knew his name. Everybody knows his name, Edward Snowden. And I think a lot of people look at him or maybe thought of him as a traitor or a turncoat, but once you get to know him from this documentary, you're just like, man, he's just a guy,
which is what I loved about this documentary. That's what I was interested in, and it really delivered, because I love the fact that, they're asking him some questions about, are you worried before his name comes out? And he's like, I'm not worried. I just want to get the information out there. I want these stories out there and this and that. And he looks calm and collected.
Mm-hmm.
He's completely on top of things. But you do see him just completely drop when his name does come out, and he starts getting hassled, and they're calling and calling and calling.
Right, yeah.
And everything's happening. And you just see him, he is worried. And he doesn't really know what he's doing, especially I love the sequence where he's like trying to change his appearance. He puts his contacts in instead of his glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And he's even asking the documentarian, like, should I shave it like all off or leave some stubble? Like, what's going to work? He's asking her for tips.
Yeah.
Like, and then he's, trying to do his hair and he can't get it right.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, this poor guy.
And he has the umbrella too.
Yeah. And he's trying to, decide like what to take and can he fit it in bags? Because he knows now that at any moment he's just got to leave.
Right.
And which is crazy to think too. And the very beginning of this story, I thought he had this more well planned out. But you do come to realize that he got the stuff, he left a note like, I'm away on business, and then he just goes to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh shit. I gotta figure out a way to do all this.
Yeah, I think that maybe he probably wrestled with it a lot. It doesn't seem like something that he just wanted to get it all out there. It seems like he really was debating on whether or not he should release this information. And the other point I wanted to make was that, and other movies have talked about this too, that terms and conditions may apply, I think was the name of it, that documentary that we did the interview with the director on that's basically about the same thing. But for people that aren't too familiar with all this NSA surveillance stuff, this is a frightening ass documentary. It is very frightening to just kind of see behind the curtain of what's going on. And I also like that it made sure to let you know that it's not that he was doing this to gain recognition or trying to go against his country or to gain fame or any of that stuff. He really put himself on the line. And at one point I was thinking to myself, like, how conflicted he must have been about all this, because at one point, it's when he's talking to somebody about going to the UN when he was in Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. And he has like 2 bags, and that's his life in those 2 bags. Exactly. And I was thinking about what he must have been feeling, how he must have been feeling during that time where you don't have a country, you don't have a home. He was away from his girlfriend, and he thought that his girlfriend was going to leave him, and he didn't know what was going on with that. And they were together for 7 years or something, they said.
Yeah.
And it just made me feel like I feel so bad for this guy, that he was so compelled. He read this information and he truly thought that people need to know this. This is such damning information that I need to get it out. And to me, it felt very selfless what he did.
Well, and I love how she sort of built into, because I have seen, when all this stuff came out and, there was this huge debate with people like, is he a traitor or is he a patriot? That whole debate argument that people were having. And I like how she tied in the whole William Binney or whatever his name is. How he was the NSA guy.
Right, yeah.
And, he essentially did what Snowden did, but he went through the proper channels of, like going through the government, like, hey, you guys shouldn't be doing this, da, 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 da. And what happened to him? They completely shut him down. Yeah. They kicked in his door, guns blazing. And people are like, well, why didn't Snowden go through the right avenues? Like, why would you give it to... And it's like, that's why. That's why he didn't go through the right avenues. Because they're crooks. That's why he did it this way. So the public would actually see it.
Yeah. And, I mean, he was very intelligent. I mean, he knew exactly what to do as far as... I think that to have the foresight to call these specific journalists and get this whole thing set up, I think it was a really, really smart idea for him to do this.
And extremely risky.
Oh, yeah.
And he pulls it off.
But that's the other thing. It was also risky for the journalists that were working with him, too. They started getting followed, and the whole... I also like how they covered the fact that the journalist from The Guardian, like his partner was detained, and just
9 hours.
To see what was going on, like the reach that they had and the lengths that they were willing to go through to try to track this guy down.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's mind-blowing. It is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I mean, I thought it got a little rocky towards the end, which is really it's not really her fault in terms of filmmaking, because they just kind of lose contact with Snowden,
right?
And they're not able to get it back up and get the filming and stuff. So it's understandable, but it did lose a little bit towards the end there, I thought. Well, but I did thoroughly enjoy when he finally does come back into the fold when he meets with Glenn Greenwald, and they go over something, and he's writing it down on paper, and just watching his reaction and stuff.
That was awesome. I like that whole final scene with when they tore the paper up and stuff like that. I thought that was done really well. But yeah, I do agree that once he kind of goes off the grid, she does kind of make up for it by including the news clips for people that may not remember exactly what happened when he was in Russia and all of that stuff. At least the missing pieces were she did try to put them in there.
But yeah, that was... For me, that's the whole getting to see just Edward Snowden as a person, just to see how he's sort of living his day-to-day, his bizarre day-to-day in Hong Kong, was what was really interesting to me. I didn't really need the leaks, and, I didn't really need that. I just wanted to see who he was.
Yeah.
Which I thought she did a really good job of.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing is, she successfully makes a suspenseful and tension-filled movie with basically, it just amounts to them interviewing a guy in a hotel room. For the bulk of the movie, it's just them talking to him.
I know, in a hotel room. It's still, like I said, I knew, the stories that came out and stuff. I know how this is going to play out, but I'm still riveted because I don't know the behind the scenes to it, the discussions before this stuff, and then the little breaks where Snowden goes on, like they, all the leaks and stuff just goes on the back burner while Snowden, teaches them like computer stuff.
The email and the encrypting the emails and stuff like that.
And at one point he's even like, okay, you get this set up and come back to me. He's teaching them how to encrypt everything and keep their files safe.
Yeah, I thought this was just a brilliant documentary. I loved it. I think it's a must-see. I think that it's probably my favorite documentary of the year. Well, it is. It is my favorite documentary of the year. So
yeah, it was quite a surprise. I was so happy. I loved it.
Absolutely. And now I really want to seek out other films from this director, Laura Poitras.
Which is very interesting in how she sets it up that, she's being tracked even before this happened.
Yeah, she was already being tracked.
because of her Iraq War documentaries. So, which is even crazier that Snowden is able to make contact with her, safe contact with her, even though I'm sure he knew that she was being...
Right.
It's crazy. Shit's crazy.
Yeah. Yep. There you have it. CitizenFour. I would highly recommend it. I'm going to give this movie I'll say a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10? I'm thinking like a 8.5.
There you have it. This is playing in select cities now. Hopefully it'll be out in your area very soon. And I'm sure that it's already on the Oscar shortlist, but I would be surprised if it didn't win. I think that this is probably the strongest contender for Best Documentary.
I would hope it would win.
It was just fantastic. Fan-fucking-tastic, Kevin.
Get jazzed up for some CitizenFour.
Yeah.
All right.
Feel-good movie of the year.
Interviewing a guy in a hotel room.
Well, it also, how long do you think it's going to be before they fictionalize this story?
I think they already are, aren't they?
Maybe.
I think I read what Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I think, is supposed to play.
Oh, really?
Snowden, yeah. Now, do you think it'll get like 6 or 7 different ones, like Julian Assange?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. My girlfriend suggested Edward Norton as Edward Snowden. I think that'd be a better fit than Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know who I would pick. I wasn't thinking about that.
Well, I didn't really think about it either, but...
All right, well, let's not think about it.
Okay, we won't think about it.
Let's move on. Let's move on to the cream filling.
Let's move on to R100. This is written and directed by Hitoshi Matsumoto. Sorry. I have a synopsis here. An ordinary man with an ordinary life joins a mysterious club. The membership lasts for 1 year only, and there is one rule: no cancellation under any circumstance. The man enters into a whole new exciting world he never before experienced, where crazy love goes wilder and crazier. Is it an illusion or is it real? Welcome to the world. Welcome to the world no one has dared to explore until now.
Okay.
So
that's a long one.
Oh, it is a long one. I just love the tagline. M for father. M for father. So let me give my own synopsis for this movie.
I would like to hear it.
Well, I'll do the beginning of it. I'll give the broad strokes, and then we'll get into the details. So basically, it's about a man who his wife she's in a coma. I take it they don't really.
She's in a vegetative state.
Yeah,
I think they even do say coma at one point.
I don't know if they say what happened to her, if she was sick or if she was in an accident.
No, I don't think they get into that.
I don't think they get into that. But at any rate, he works at a department store, sells mattresses. He's taking care of his young son, and I think he's just kind of lonely. He's just kind of a lonely guy, and he ends up getting signed up with this bondage club where they will show up at random times in random places and do things to humiliate him, and that's kind of how he gets his rocks off. It induces a state of euphoria in him.
Yes.
And it starts off innocent enough, but it gradually gets it gets a little too close to home for him, we'll say.
I think that'll work. That's pretty good.
But there's a lot of stuff that happens in this movie that make it completely go off the rails. Now, I saw this at Sundance, and there were a significant number of walkouts.
What?
And
are you sure?
And there were an even more significant number of people going, "What? What was that?" So we'll start with you, Kevin. What did you think of R100?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I have no idea what the fuck is going on in this movie.
When you think of crazy Japanese movies, this is
This is even
This is definitely one
this
of
is
them.
even weird for Japanese standards, kind of to a point. I mean, I'm with it for a good bit of the film. I see what's going on. Okay, he's signing up for this S&M club or whatever. I guess it's, the surprise is what gets him going. And he has that weird, like, where the ripples come out from his head and his
And his
face
face.
gets deformed. So I'm like, and that's what I'm thinking. Okay, he's lonely. He just needs some excitement in his life. Something's missing. And he's going to explore this like a little bit of a fetish that he has to try
And
and
let me just
break out of it.
let me pause you right there for 1 second. So the first thing that happens is he gets kicked in the face
Which was awesome.
was amazing. That was the way they start the movie, and also I'm like going sidetrack after sidetrack here, but I love how the title card comes up like 35 minutes into the movie too.
Which throws you for a loop because then it cuts out to this, I guess they're producers or
Yeah.
investors or whatever they are having their, like, what are those called? Not interludes, where they have breaks.
Intermission?
Intermission. They go and they're just dumbfounded the first time. And at first you're not quite, at
You
least
don't
I
even know what it
wasn't.
is.
Yeah, I wasn't
Wasn't
quite sure.
The first time, don't they just not say anything at all?
Yeah,
They're just completely silent.
Yeah, they don't really say much. I think he might say like one thing. So you're like, what the hell is this? What is this now? Well, then the movie starts back up, and everything just gets crazier and crazier. And then
Yeah.
they cut back out to the guy, and I just love that they're pissed off
Yeah.
when they come out for their second intermission. These guys are just pissed at what they're watching. Doesn't make any sense to them, which I'm right there along with them. I don't understand what the hell's going on.
Yeah. And I love how also love how they point out the plot holes, because when I first saw this, I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. How would she know her voice and all that stuff? And then they point it out.
It is. So there's a part of me that's like, okay, this is kind of like a Japanese version of Trans Europe Express.
You know what it feels like?
Where they're critiquing the film's being critiqued as you're watching it.
Right.
So you can't complain about plot holes and stuff because they're part of the plot.
Exactly. So you're just like, wait, okay. This is like, and I don't know if I said this in my review. I wrote the review a long time ago, so I don't even remember what I wrote. But this to me is like a critic-proof movie because they themselves are criticizing the movie within the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And you're never really sure. And I don't know why. I don't know why they would do that, like essentially breaking away. So the way that I looked at it was, you know how sometimes in movies there's a scene where someone's watching a movie, but the movie they're watching is not real, like it's just a fake movie they made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To me, that's what this is. This is a movie within a movie that you're watching.
Yes.
Only you get to see the whole thing.
Yeah, you only see like 2 or 3 intermissions where people get increasingly more pissed off by what they're watching.
So to me, the actual movie was those intermissions and the cutaways to the old man director.
And it's only like 22 minutes long.
Yeah, it's a 22-minute long movie. And I also like how they said at the end, the only way that you'll get this movie is if you're 100 years old. Then you'll understand it. And I like also the response of the executives with that statement.
He's like, how many 100-year-olds are there? Oh, God.
Yes, this is... Oof.
Back to the actual movie itself, which the
movie within the movie, you mean?
Yes, the one with the S&M club. It did make me laugh a good number of times. The editing on the Queen of Saliva dance, whatever the fuck was going on there.
Yeah,
that just had me busting up laughing.
That reminded me of almost like a Tim and Eric thing or something.
It did feel like
it's like on a loop, sort of, and it just the way that they
kept going, and they cut it to the music, and it was just her spitting pureed vegetables on his face, which is just disgusting.
That was a really gross scene. And the other thing that for some reason, the scene that really grossed me out was when the kid still had the ball gag on.
Oh, goodness.
And they were tracking him by his trail of slobber, and they called him Slobber Boy.
That's for me, that's where it kind of went off the rails. When it got into this whole where he tried to cancel
Mm-hmm.
and they come after him, and then
Yeah,
the CEO comes in, which is another Tim and Eric moment where it just plays on a loop of her diving
into the pool. Yeah, that was bizarre.
It's like 7, 8 times.
Oh God, it's okay. So if you can't tell, it's a pretty weird movie.
But I wonder if that's, maybe that's how the director gets his rocks off, is by just confounding audiences and pissing them off. And that's like his S&M club, where he just pops in and fucking confuses the shit out of you, makes you yell at the screen, and then he just gets a huge smile on his face like the old man director at the end.
This is the same guy that directed Big Man Japan. So if any of you have seen that movie, that one's pretty weird too. Not this weird though. Not this weird.
No, this is. And then I was not a fan of I got pretty excited for the end, the whole showdown.
Yeah, the big.
With the
I love
S&M.
how he had.
There's S&M ninjas, dude, and there's a briefcase of grenades.
Grenades, yeah.
And you're like, oh shit! But it just, for me, it was repetitive.
Oh
it's
my
just
God!
It just kept going
just over and over. Grenades.
More grenades. Which it seemed like he threw a lot more grenades that was in that briefcase. Okay.
There might have been layers. There might have been
That's
layers
true.
of grenades.
There could have been layers of grenades. I forgot to mention the Queen of Gobbling.
The Queen of Gobbling, yeah, she was something.
The first time that shows up, you're just like, what the what?
Well, my reaction was pretty much the same as the guy who walks into the room and sees how he just collapses and screams. He's just horrified.
The executive points that out too. It's like, what the hell is the Queen of Goblin? Can we? And the guy's like, well, we can cut that out. He's like, yeah, but there's more gobbling in the movie. It would ruin the continuity.
Yep, and there was more gobbling.
Yeah, there was more gobbling, and I was curious to see, what does her face look like when she's not gobbling? And they showed it to me.
Yeah.
They showed it to me. So, goodness.
I was a little disappointed in this movie because I like the premise a lot. I like the idea of a man who is lonely and looking for something in his life, and he does this and he gets stuck and he can't get out and it's getting more dangerous. I like that whole concept. I think that it's a really interesting character study to look at this person and how they would react in this situation, but it doesn't go there. It doesn't really delve into that at all.
No.
And
fortunately.
And to me that was disappointing. But at the same time, once you accept the fact that it's not that movie, that it's just this batshit insanity that there's just no way that you're going to get what's happening here, then I guess it's okay to accept it.
To me, after a certain amount of time, you realize, okay, I don't think there's really a lot going on here outside of surface level or whatever he's trying to convey. It's lost on me because apparently I don't have the real world experience of whatever the hell he's trying to convey here. So you're just going along with it, but in that sense too, it's a bit too long, and there's not much happening at large stretches of time to really hold your interest, except for he just tries to top the bizarreness one after another, and it gets a bit tiresome.
That's exactly how I looked at it, because once you realize that it's not what it sets out to initially do, then or let me rephrase. Once you realize that it's different than what you expected it to be, then it's easy to lose you at that point.
Yeah.
And for me, that's when it started losing me, once it really went off the rails and got completely insane. And I think that I probably realized that after the first interlude with the executives. And I was like, what is going on? Because they redo the title card
Yeah.
after everyone too, and you're just like, what is going on here?
I think for me, I really when the other whoever, I don't even know who this guy is that shows up at the to test out mattresses.
Yeah.
When he shows up, it was just kind of just went downhill.
Yeah.
Because everything gets crazy, but you don't know why. You don't. Everything's lost on me, and I don't know how the hell to critique this movie because I don't even know what the hell it is. I don't know what it is. It's just weird stuff being thrown at my face.
That being said, I still recommend checking it out just because it is
the only
just
reason
so weird. It's just so weird.
I do not recommend it as like a good movie and you're going to enjoy yourself. The only reason I recommend it is for selfish reasons. I want to know what the hell you thought, and can you please explain it to me? I'm interested to see what you think, because I don't know what the hell's going on here. I'm just so confused. Yeah. And slightly terrified.
It's
There's a whole sequence where it's just an overweight woman spitting in a guy's face.
Yeah. With his son tied up in the background hanging.
Yeah, which makes it even more disturbing.
That poor kid.
I mean, he didn't sign up for any of this, but you know.
Nah. There you have it. R100.
I don't know if we said anything of substance.
Well,
I don't know if you can though.
I don't know if you can. It's a bizarre Japanese film. If you want to see a bizarre Japanese film, I'd say check it out. If you like Big Man Japan, this is way darker, and it's more bizarre, but in a different way. Whereas Big Man Japan was kind of goofy fun, this is kind of a dark bizarre that's kind of gross.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways. So if you like that, maybe like a cross between Funky Forest and Ichi the Killer or something, where there's bodily fluids getting thrown around.
Yeah, sure is.
But they're not really spitting on him, so that's not. I mean, it's all CG.
Yeah.
So I was thankful for that.
Which is really weird too.
Yeah.
That makes it a bit weirder. I don't know. And it's all kind of, wrapped around Beethoven's Ode to Joy. So it's classy. It's a classy, weird movie.
Well, it is shot very well. I mean, I think it looks really good. I like a lot of the shots in this movie, but I don't know. I don't know what to say. R100, that will be, I believe, in select cities and on demand this Friday. So check it out. Score wise, what are you thinking?
I don't know. Fucking teacup. I don't know.
Teacup?
Like what the fuck? Like how the fuck you rate this movie?
I don't know. I was actually gonna give a fake rating too, but
Jesus, I don't know. I have no idea what the hell's going on. I don't know what he's trying to do. So this is just purely personal entertainment, or how I felt about it, how much enjoyment I got out of it. Okay,
I'm getting enjoyment out of your struggle with this part.
I'm gonna say a 4.
Okay, I'm gonna go by my original review score, which was a 5.5.
Okay,
so there you have it. R100, very weird.
I mean, the only thing that I can really say with full backing is it happened.
It's not a movie that you'll forget anytime soon.
I kind of wish I could, like certain aspects of it.
It stays with you. It definitely stays with you.
It sure does.
All right. Let's move on to our final review for the day. We're talking Inherent Vice. This is a biggie. This is a big daddy.
Shit.
This is a big daddy. Written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, based on the novel by Thomas Pynchon.
I have no idea how to pronounce his name.
Okay. I have a synopsis here. In 1970, drug-fueled Los Angeles detective Larry Doc Sportello investigates the disappearance of a former girlfriend. This stars a ridiculous number of people. including Joaquin Phoenix, Josh Brolin, Benicio del Toro, Reese Witherspoon, Jenna Malone, Owen Wilson, Eric Roberts, Martin Short, Michael Kenneth Williams, Maya Rudolph. Those are the main...
Catherine Waterston.
Catherine Waterston. So, when I was watching this, I was, as usual, thinking about how you were going to perceive this movie. So
that's all you think of when
that's
you
all I
watch
think about. That's all I think about.
God damn, I wonder what's Kevin
What's
thinking.
Kevin gonna think about this? How's he gonna feel about this voiceover? And I'll say right off the bat that this is the kind of movie that I'm all about.
I know.
It's an LA noir.
You are
hard-boiled detective story.
You are all about this one.
I was all about this movie. And after I saw it, now I'm 2 days removed. I'm actually kind of glad that we recorded this a little bit later, a day later than usual, because I've had some time to think about it.
Okay.
Because I don't feel like this is a movie that you can leave the theater and be like, I loved it, or I hated it. You know what I mean? It's the kind of movie that you really need to process it, or at least I felt that way.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty long. It's like 2.5 hours long, and it's such a sprawling story. I mean, there's so many characters, and there's people coming and going out of Joaquin Phoenix's life, and all of these little plot threads that are connected in some very minuscule way. That I think it's a tough movie to follow, and it almost demands a rewatch. Really, I think that I'm gonna have to see it again to really fully grasp all of the different connections and things.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, yes, I did like it quite a bit. I could have done without a lot of the kind of existential narration that was happening, because I didn't particularly like that character.
Which one? The
narrator.
Oh, the Joanna Newsom.
Yeah, wasn't into that really. But for the most part, overall, yes, I did like the movie quite a bit. And I think that, well, let's get your thoughts and then we'll get into it in more detail.
I was going to say, kind of bogarting.
Sorry.
Bogarting it, man. Voiceover. Wasn't a big fan of the voiceover, as you can imagine. I mean, I know why it's being used.
Right.
Of course, it makes sense. There was a couple of times where I just thought they were a bit too cute with it, with sort of her reacting to the situations and stuff. And for me, I thought that there was going to be more substance to this film. I don't know why I thought that. And, I'm sort of on the edge of my seat while this mystery's playing out, and things just keep getting added to it and added to it and added to it. And you keep getting sidetracked from the actual, like, original mystery. Right. And then finally, once it comes together, you're just like, oh, okay. This was just kind of like a fun movie. There's not like a big reveal or anything. It's just everything sort of worked together, and it was a fairly simple plot.
Yeah.
And it's just a fun time, man, with a shit ton of drugs. Drug fueled fun.
In a lot of ways, I think this reminded me of Big Lebowski.
It reminded me a lot of Big Lebowski.
Whereas that was kind of the Coen brothers comedy movie. It felt like this, to me, was Paul Thomas Anderson's lighter offering.
This movie was fucking hilarious. I thought this movie was just flat out funny.
There were some scenes that just had me rolling. There's a scene in the trailer, so I'm not giving anything major away. And I am keeping in mind that this movie's not out yet, so I'm going to really try to be careful about not revealing too much of what happens in the plot. But there is a scene in the trailer where he gets hit with the baseball bat towards the beginning. God. And how he swings on the way down.
He spins around and swings. Oh my God. That whole sequence where, they give him the menu of what they provide there. And it's sort of his understanding was that he got to, but it turns out he doesn't. Just the way Joaquin Phoenix reacts to everything.
Oh my God.
In this movie, when he's shown a picture of a child that has
that
development
that was
problems.
that was the other note I have here of things to mention that really made me laugh was that scene when he screamed at the picture of the kid.
There's the small segment where he's just doing nitrous. He's just his office is in a doctor's office.
Well, yeah, that was funny too. I like the fact that his office was in a doctor's office.
Just the way he reacts to everything is just fantastic, especially the end. This sequence involving Josh Brolin and the marijuana, and just Joaquin Phoenix, the look on his face, the noises he makes, these little noises that eke out of his mouth. It's just, oh God.
I thought
I could have watched his character all day.
I thought he was fantastic.
He is unbelievable.
He was so funny in this movie. The subtle things, because he plays a pothead, yes, but he's not an over-the-top Cheech and Chong type.
Yeah.
He's this kind of...
He has his wits about.
Yeah, he's just kind of mellow, but at the same time, he is a PI. So that's where this big plot comes in. He gets a job from his ex-girlfriend, then he gets another job, then he gets another job, and he's working all these cases at once that are starting to converge. And it's not like he's a bad detective, really.
No, he's actually pretty smart.
Yeah, I mean, he starts putting it together pretty quickly.
But I also like that because of him being a pothead, and all these coincidences are happening all at the same time. People are visiting that he's never seen before, and they're talking about people that is with the original case. So then those people are connected to the original case, and then he finds out, and everything's sort of coming together, and he is starting to wonder, like, is he... Yeah. Is he hallucinating? Is he just paranoid?
Which is one of the funny things throughout the movie. As he's interviewing people, he's writing down notes on his notepad.
And his notes are so stupid.
Half the time they show his notepad, it's the funniest thing ever.
Especially when Jenna Malone says, they're building this apartment complex out in the desert, and this is the name of it, and it's Spanish, and what does it mean? And you just see him writes down something Spanish. Yeah. That's all he writes in his notebook.
I know that I didn't want to do this, but there's certain parts that I just have to mention to you that I thought were really funny. There's a little scene where he's setting up an interview with somebody to meet with somebody, and he asks him what he should wear, and the guy's like, jacket and tie would be preferable. And then they cut to him, and he's wearing this like Indian necklace. He's sitting there at the table. His outfit was so funny to me.
Oh, there's a lot of just small stuff like that. His meetup towards the end where he's meeting with someone about some heroin, and they're meeting in this classy place, and he's sort of upset. The guy that he's meeting with is upset about what another person has done to his daughter, and Joaquin Phoenix sort of points out, like, oh, well, she's of legal age, and the thing that the guy's upset about is the fact that during these sexual escapades, the guy plays Broadway. Like, that's what pisses him off. And the other thing is that the cheap wallpaper and the hotels that he takes his daughter to is what really... It's none of the sex stuff that happens with his daughter. It's just that he's not classy about it. And it really pisses him off.
I, like most Paul Thomas Anderson movies, I love the cinematography in this movie. It was Robert Elswit that did the cinematography. There were a couple scenes that just really stuck out for some reason. And the ones that always stick out to me are the just small, random little ones. There was one that I guess was pretty big. It was just the static shot of when Joaquin Phoenix was handcuffed to a pipe.
Oh yeah, how
it was in the other. Yeah, it was in the other room, and just that whole sequence, how that whole thing played out, I thought was awesome.
That was fantastic.
There was just a quick cut. There's a quick scene where it cuts to him sitting in his house at the kitchen table, and there's piles of drugs everywhere, and just the way that was framed and the way that it looked was so funny to me, because it's like he didn't want these drugs in the first place, and he's had all these drugs everywhere, and it just looked so funny. And I think that the cinematography of this movie just really aided in the comedy.
I thoroughly enjoyed the opening sequence with him at the massage palace, or I can't remember what the actual place was called, like the actual name of it, but just the flag streamers and how they were casting shadows, and when he wakes up and there's just that shot of all the cop cars.
Yeah.
When he gets up from the ground, I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, if you're into noir, this is definitely one to check out, because this is it's right up there for me.
And it just keeps laying it on. You know what I mean? It starts off with the first mission job, whatever you want to call it, and it just keeps getting stuff added to it and added to it and added to it. And it's just the way that it plays out and it all comes together. It's so much fun. And just watching Joaquin Phoenix interact with everyone in this movie.
And that's the other thing, is the cast of characters in this movie. Huge cast of characters, and each one of them have their own distinct personality, and they all have these weird quirks about them, like his relationship with Reese Witherspoon. Like, she just kind of comes in out of nowhere, and you're like, how does he know her? Is he in some sort of physical relationship with her? What is her deal? And then we have Martin Short, who's this crazy dentist, and then you have Josh Brolin, who's this actor / cop, and it's just, I mean, the list goes on and on.
Well,
Owen Wilson too.
Well, that's what I like about it too, is like the Josh Brolin thing. Like, is he really? Is he an actor? Is that what's going on, or was Joaquin Phoenix just seeing him in the TV because he's so doped up?
Well, he does mention that he has a SAG card, so I think
okay.
So I think maybe he really was an actor.
I gotcha.
Although
I do remember that now. Yeah,
part of that scene was a hallucination, but I think that he really was an actor.
I love the fact that he just keeps running into Owen Wilson everywhere.
Yeah,
he's just been everywhere, man. Martin Short coked up, like, I mean, come on. And just
that scene when he first meets Martin Short, I thought was hilarious.
And I just love his helper, or his right-hand man, or whatever, the guy that can't drive. Just when he shows up.
And he says there's a really funny line when he gets out of the car and the guy says he's going to go around the block. And I think he says something like, what was it?
Oh, he says, do you remember? He's like, you remember that it's a manual. It's not an automatic. And he's like, yeah, I know. And then when he comes in with this, he's like, is that my steering wheel? And he's like, yeah, I can't drive.
But the way he says it, he says like, it's a manual and such. Just like, oh God, just the dialogue in this movie is brilliant. Brilliant.
Okay, we're making it out to be this huge comedy, which it is, but it's a very subtle comedy. It's very subtle comedy.
If I made it out to be this kind of madcap, crazy spoof or something, it's not. It's very subdued.
It's just one of those things, because I figured that you were the same way. It's our type of comedy where it's the little things. It's just little subtle, the look on Joaquin Phoenix's face, just where he screws his face up just in a response to, and the little noises that come out of his mouth. And the fact that most of the time he's just putting his hand over his face, just in the, oh my God, what the fuck is going on? He's just so stressed out. But there are a number of sequences that, the type of, God damn it, speeches.
Yeah.
Speech, I can't think of the word speeches. The way that those play out, like the one between him and Owen Wilson, the one between him and Catherine Waterston, just the way that he's able to draw that out and make them so engaging. It's just, I don't know if anyone else does it as well as he does.
Yeah. This movie really makes me want to seek out the novel. I really want to read the novel now to see how it compares, and just...
I've only read one Pynchon novel, and I wasn't that big of a fan. Maybe I'll read this one.
This one sounds like it'd be right up my alley. And from what I read, Paul Thomas Anderson really wanted to stick with the source material for this. So
now the only thing that I kind of noticed, well, I don't know anything about the books. I don't know if he added this, but I'm pretty sure that he did. But there was a lot of religious themes once again in this movie,
Yeah.
with the entire ending with Josh Brolin, the fact that everyone, including Joaquin Phoenix, is constantly pointing out how his feet are so dirty and his feet need washed. Joanna Newsom's name. There's a couple other things. Oh, the Owen Wilson where when they get that shot of him, it's set up like the Last Supper.
Oh yeah.
It's just there's a lot of stuff in there that is the reason I want to go back and rewatch it, is to try and pick up on that thread throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Because at first you're so invested into how this plot's unfolding, and because there's so many things going on, there's so many characters and how do they play in, and you sort of lose that. So I want to go back and see what that thread's all about.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see this again. Just
The rewatchability on this movie is high.
yeah, definitely. Because I think it's one of those movies where every time you see it, you'll pick up a little bit more, because there's just so much happening in this. Just so many different areas that it covers. And again, I will say the only part that I could have done without was kind of the, more, I don't know, the narration. Basically all the narration. I just could have done without all of that stuff.
But see, now I got to go back and listen to that narration just to, because I'm sure there's stuff in there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I think I think that the narration is probably some of the deepest stuff in the movie. That's the meatiest stuff. The rest of it's all pretty surface level, detective story.
Straightforward. It's just craziness, but it is straightforward. Like once you get to the end of it, you're like, oh well, yeah, that plot wasn't that complicated.
Right? Yeah.
It all comes together.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I don't know. I think a movie like LA Confidential is the way that plot it's kind of structured similarly, with different threads and different cases converging, and
just
you even had
throw a lot more stoners into that movie.
Right. Like the Kevin Spacey characters, like the Josh Brolin character, where he's a cop, but he's also kind of an actor that's trying to make it in Hollywood.
Which there's an exchange between Josh Brolin and Joaquin Phoenix over the phone, and I love when Josh Brolin's wife takes over the conversation.
Oh my god!
And just the way she treats.
It's so funny. I think we could probably sit here for the next half hour and just talk about different scenes of this movie that made us laugh. There's so much. And again, I will draw comparisons to The Big Lebowski, because the whole time I was watching it, I kept feeling like I was watching The Big Lebowski.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. And again, for me, the big takeaway from this movie, once again, is Joaquin Phoenix. I didn't want the movie to end because I just wanted to keep seeing his character, this Dr. Sportello. I just wanted to see him in like every kind of interaction.
I want to see more cases. I want to see him work more cases. Exactly. I'm pretty sure P.T. Anderson would never do a sequel, but I want to see more.
I do as well. I'm right there with you.
All right. Any final thoughts on Inherent Vice?
I don't think so. Well, okay, I didn't say this, but I thought outside of Joaquin Phoenix, I thought Catherine Waterston was fantastic as well.
I didn't.
Which, you didn't think so?
No. I wasn't grooving on her.
All right. Whatever.
I wasn't grooving on her.
Fine. Let's just leave it at that. She's not in it that much. I don't, but I thought the scenes that she was in, she did a fantastic job.
Yeah. I like Benicio del Toro in it. I love the fact that he was a maritime lawyer. And I love the fact when he's first introduced, he's wearing the sailor hat. Oh boy. I want to watch this again now.
I want to watch this again, and I haven't done this in ages, but I would love to smoke some weed and watch this movie.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those movies. Well, that was the other thing. There's a lot of hippie references in this movie, because this takes place in 1970, so Vietnam's still happening, and people still hate hippies, and he gets a lot of shit for being a hippie throughout this movie.
Josh Brolin really hates hippies.
He really hates hippies,
but he loves Japanese pancakes. He fucking wants them.
Pankeku.
He wants them shits like yesterday.
Oh god. Yes, go see this movie.
Damn it.
I'm gonna go ahead and apologize if we gave too much away.
It's still fun as shit.
Yeah.
And I mean, we didn't link any of it together, so
Right.
you're still not gonna know what the hell's going on until the end.
Inherent Vice. Now, as far as the score on this,
well, I want to ask you before we go into score, where is this for you, P.T. Anderson wise?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like, where's this fall for you?
Now, I've been meaning to rewatch There Will Be Blood for a while, and I haven't gotten around to it. But when I only saw that once in the theater, but I loved it. So I'm gonna say I believe Magnolia is still number 1 for me.
Okay.
And I believe, oh boy, God, this is really hard.
You're damn right it is.
Because I still love me some Boogie Nights.
Yeah, I know, right?
All right, I'll say Magnolia, Boogie Nights, There Will Be Blood, then Inherent Vice, then The Master, then Heart 8.
Oh, what about where's Punch Drunk Love in there?
Oh yeah, Punch Drunk. Forgot. That's the one that I always
you always
forget.
forget.
All right, the Punch Drunk is above Heart 8.
Okay, gotcha. This is something that I enjoyed is for P.T. Anderson wise is like the last 2 movies here, The Master and There Will Be Blood. It was sort of like a one-on-one dynamic in the last 2 movies where, you know, it was either Daniel Day-Lewis and Paul Dano or Joaquin Phoenix and Philip Seymour Hoffman. And this is more of like a return back to the big ensemble, which I love when he does the ensemble movies. So I'm hoping that he's going to keep going with that further. Plus the fact that it's so light and fun.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Punch Drunk Love kind of was, and Boogie Nights kind of was. This one, it just really feels like loose and just fun, which, damn, he can do that too.
So where are you? What's your ranking as of now?
This one's actually kind of low for me. I enjoyed it, though, which is to say there's not really a P.T. Anderson movie that I don't like, you know, going down through here. The only one that I can't really comment on because I can't really remember it is Heart 8.
Yeah,
it's been forever.
That's why it's just defaults to the bottom for me.
I think I would default it to the bottom as well. But I don't even think I can rank these. They're just all
well, you made me
fantastic.
rank them, Jesus.
I know, that's why I did it first. I got in.
I'd also
now
say
I can just say pass.
I mean, this ranks pretty low for me too. What did I say? Like it was 4th or 5th on the list.
Yeah.
But that isn't to say that this is a bad movie.
No. Okay, I'm gonna try and rank these bad boys here. I'm gonna go Magnolia, Punch Drunk Love, There Will Be Blood, man, Boogie Nights, son of a bitch. This is hard.
It's like ranking Wes Anderson. So
kind
hard.
of, which got easier with Grand Budapest. I'm gonna say, oh man, The Master, then Inherent Vice. Yeah, I guess Inherent Vice is pretty low.
It's not that low for me, but
it's pretty low for me. But whatever, it's still fucking good.
Yeah.
What a stupid question I asked. Stupid question. Stupid fuck. God.
I don't know what to score this either. I've been toiling over this for the last few days. I want to say like 8.5. Oh, I don't know. God. I mean, I wish you knew how heavy this is for me to give it a number.
I'm gonna say oh my god, 8. I'm gonna go 8.
Okay, that seems about right. I'll give me 8.5, you 8.
I was kind of like, actually, like right after watching it, I was like, this is a 7. Like I thought it was pretty fun. I enjoyed myself, but I was like, it's kind of light.
Well, that's what I was saying at the beginning of this review, that I'm glad that I had a couple days to sit with it, because I actually like it more now than I did right after I watched it. Because honestly, as I was watching it, towards the final act, I was like, okay. Like, for some reason, the length was really starting to weigh on me. Because I didn't know how this was going to resolve. and I didn't see the resolution coming, and I had no idea where it was going. And just by the end, I mean, I was just exhausted. I was just like, okay, let's wrap it up here. I mean, honestly, if there was anything that he cut out of the book, I feel like he probably could have split this into 2 movies.
P.T. Anderson doesn't do that.
No, I know he wouldn't do that. But
Bush League shit.
Bush League would be splitting it into 3 movies.
Okay.
That's Bush League.
Oh, my.
There you have it. Inherent Vice. Absolutely check this out. Now, it is screening in 70 millimeter in certain theaters. I would highly suggest.
I wish I could fucking do that. Yeah. That'd be cool.
I would highly suggest, if it is screening in 70 millimeter in your area, go see it that way because it looks fantastic.
Yes.
So definitely check it out. All right, let's go ahead and talk about some predictions. Last week, we said The Pyramid. You said 24, I said 41, actual 8.
Oh, wow.
We gave it a 2 on the site, 2 out of 10. So, yeesh. Wild, you said 70. I said 72. Actual 92.
Wow.
Now we did get a screener for this, but it came today as of this recording. So
yeah, good work, Wild.
Yeah, a lot of the award screeners are coming late this year, so maybe we'll talk about it next week. I'm not sure. And still, Alice, you said 70. I said 65. Actual 87.
Okay. All right.
So, got some...
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
The Captive next week. What are you thinking on this one? The Adam Egoyan thriller.
Oh.
Supposedly it's pretty bad, so...
Well, I'm going to say 40.
40? Okay.
40.
I will say 35.
Okay.
And Exodus Gods and Kings.
Oh, God.
Little Ridley Scott action.
You know, the number one thing I don't understand about that trailer? Like, when they're fighting each other on the beach, why? You see that huge... Like, if I was one of them, I'd just be like, okay, let's turn right and just let the waves fucking crash down on him. Unless it's supposed to be when he split the waves, which they didn't fight during that time, so they're just making shit up nowadays. Ridiculous.
Well, I have no interest in that.
No, it looks
not
terrible.
Even in the slightest bit.
It looks terrible.
I will predict... I'll predict 42 on that.
I'm going to go 38.
38, okay. Now, in limited release next week, we have Inherent Vice, so check that if it's playing in your area. I think that doesn't come out till January something or other.
Oof.
Wide.
It's a bummer.
Top 5, now that may be getting a wide release, I'm not sure. That's
I hope so.
Chris Rock one. Did you see the number of people in that movie? I'm excited.
It's ridiculous, man.
I'm so excited for that movie just to see all of those comedians together in one movie. Written by Chris Rock, no less.
It looks very exciting. I'm very excited for this movie.
I've seen the trailer. That trailer's been playing before a lot of movies that I've been going to recently. So I've seen the trailer a number of times. Every single time makes me laugh. Cedric the Entertainer.
Still get you.
I don't understand why he's not that funny in other movies.
Because Chris Rock's not writing for him.
I guess that's what it is. But man, and I'm glad to see Michael Che and who's the new SNL cast member that's in that? She's really, really funny. Leslie Jones.
Oh my God. There needs to be more Leslie Jones.
More Leslie Jones in everything. And I found out today that she's going to be in the next Judd Apatow movie.
Oh my God, yes.
She is hilarious. So, at any rate,
fantastic.
Top 5, I'm pretty excited to see that. R100 comes out in limited release. Check that out if you want to see the Queen of Gobbling and find out what that's all about. Free the Nipple, which is a documentary, and Little Feet, which I'm very excited for. I don't know if you saw a trailer for that.
I didn't, but I did see, what it's about. I'm looking forward to that one.
When you see the trailer for that, you'll say to yourself, "Okay, that's an Adam movie."
Okay.
Absolutely.
Poverty
Shot,
porn, huh?
shot in black and white. It's about 3 kids taking their goldfish to the ocean, and when you see the trailer, Sigur Rós does the trailer music.
Oh, jeez. That's all you.
It's
That's
an ad. Yeah, definitely.
Adam Patterson written all over it.
Yes, it does. Next week on VOD, we have After the Fall. I can't remember that one.
That's my favorite.
After the Fall? You mean Winter?
I don't know. What is this? After the Fall.
Well, After the Fall, it's Winter.
This is the Wes Bentley movie.
Oh, yeah, with the terrible cover.
Oh, this cover is just...
It's the worst.
Oof. Oof.
Oh, boy. The Captive, which I think it's interesting that went straight to VOD. Doesn't bode well for it.
No, it doesn't.
Free the Nipple and Little Feet. Little Feet's going to be on Vimeo on demand, so check that out. I will definitely be watching that. I figured we'd probably review that next week.
Okay, all right.
Next week on DVD and Blu-ray, we have Calvary. Check it out. I'd say check it out.
Yes.
You like that, not as much as me, though.
Yes, correct.
Dead Snow 2, check that out for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Dolphin Tale 2, I'd say skip that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though both those Dolphin Tale movies got good reviews.
Oh,
so,
come on. Yeah, who's going to shit on a dolphin?
Well, me.
Well, yeah.
I mean, not literally, but...
Oh, boy.
Frank.
Oh, boy.
I keep forgetting about Frank. I kind of forgot that came out this year.
I know. To be quite honest, it feels like that movie came out like 3 years ago.
Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy. That's a biggie.
Oh, about time I finally watched this one.
I'm excited for you to see it. I think you'll be pleased. And the strange color of your body's tears.
Oh yeah, get into that.
Finally coming out.
Get into that one.
I believe that'll wrap it up. I think there's a couple. There's at least one criterion that I know.
Dude, there's 3 criterions. Okay, 3 of them. So buckle up.
Do it.
First one we have is Terry Gilliam's Time Bandits.
Oh,
coming out on the old Blu-ray.
Yeah, that was out previously on DVD, right?
Now it's on the Blu-ray.
It's been years since I've seen that movie.
It's about time I revisit this one. This one is probably one you're not going to revisit. Coming out on Blu-ray, The Night Porter.
No, not going to revisit that one. I'm not. It wasn't horrible. I didn't hate it, but
I just love the fact that you saw The Night Porter before I did.
I think I wrote a Grindhouse Weekly on it.
You sure did. I remember talking about that bad boy. So that's in there. That's coming out on the old Blu-ray. And then an interesting one here is an early Todd Haynes movie from 1995. Sorry, it's called Safe with Julianne Moore, which is a very interesting movie that I've been wanting to see for quite some time.
That sounds so familiar.
This is the one where an affluent, unexceptional homemaker develops chemical sensitivity, multiple chemical sensitivity. Dean Norris is in there too.
Oh boy.
He plays Mover. Which I'm sure is just like a small nothing of a role.
Probably.
But I'm gonna point it out anyways.
I like how out of all the actors you pick out Dean Norris.
One of the other ones, I don't know any of the other ones.
Oh, okay. All right.
I guess I could say Xander Berkeley.
Of course.
Xander Berkeley's in there.
All right. Well, I think that will wrap it up for this week. Make sure you check out our YouTube channel. We have the second episode of Film Pulse Plays Up, where I sit down with Hudson Hawk and talk about that, along with the video game versions for the Nintendo and the Game Boy, which are really bad.
No.
I mean,
come on.
The games are worse than the movie. I think I say in the video that the movie's fun to watch on a so bad it's good level. The games are not fun at all. They're terrible, and they're a chore to get through. And I believe that is it. Send us your questions to podcast@filmpulse.net. We'll be sure to answer them on the show. Follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet and @FilmPulseKevin. And be sure to rate us on iTunes. We appreciate that very much. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name is Adam Patterson. We'll see you on Thursday for Ryan Watches a Movie.
When my heart's somewhere far away, the only girl I care about is gone away.
and it's a post-apocalyptic
Yeah.
post-apocalyptic tale